Question number 4 on Schoology, we're going to begin by typing in the very first equation that we have. And it says right here that we're going to graph it on Desmos. So you guys need to graph it as well so that you can see and you can zoom in to your heart's content. I have pre-typed that one in. If you would like to change it so you can see more of the numbers, remember you can hit your wrench. I like to take off the minor grid lines and change your x-axis step, that means count by ones, and your y-axis step, count by ones. And that way we can see all of our numbers and we can see exactly where it crosses. Before we begin answering question number 4, I want to show you how it looks like it's touching that axis. But if we zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, you can see that it's actually not touching because we have that asymptote. All right, so the very first question says, is this growth or decay? From the left-hand side, is the graph going up or down? And from the left-hand side, it is going up. So this is going to be growth. And put in growth. For you guys, there are answer choices at the bottom. You would click and pop those in. And from now on, I'm just going to mostly write in what we're doing. What is the y-intercept? The y-intercept, remember, is where it's crossing the y-axis. And on Desmos, you can actually tap, and it will tell you the point 0.03. So we are going to then go down here, and we are going to click in 0.3. Then we have a table. Desmos is super awesome in that you can turn this equation into the table. So we are going to hit our gear, change it to, and then we get to choose table. The values are actually the same ones that are in the table provided on Schoology. So next to -2, we have 0.75, 1.5, 3, 6, and 12. So you might want to jot those down on your paper so that you have them, or you don't have to keep scrolling up and down. In my case, I've got to change my screens. And then again, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to go pop those in. So we have a 0.75, and then you're going to go pop in the 1.5, 3, 6, and 12. Asymptote. We mentioned asymptote earlier, and I showed you how it's not actually touching the x-axis, even though it looks like it. And we've got two choices down here, and we have to remember. The cool thing, again, about Desmos is that you can type these in. If you're not sure which one is the asymptote, you can type in x equals 0, and you can type in y equals 0, and you can find out which one is it. So which one is your asymptote? Is it going to be this line, this vertical line? No, because you can actually see the graph crosses that, so that one's not correct. And then the other one is this blue line of y equals 0. And remember how we said that it looks like they're touching, but if you zoom in, you can see how it's not actually touching because we have that invisible line, that electric dog fence that we're thinking about. So you can go ahead and pop in your answer of y equals 0. The graph, whenever you are figuring out which graph goes in this space, you need to match up these points exactly, not just, it kind of looks like that. So good points to look at are your key attributes. In this case, we can look at our y-intercept, and then we can also look, this point looks like it would be easy to check, and this one also, the 1, 6, and the 2, 12. So as you go down to your graphs, this one is growth, so it matches kind of the general direction, but if we look at our y-intercept, that's not matching. This next one is also growth, and our y-intercept matches. And then we had a point of 1, 6, that one matches, and 2, 12, this one matches. So you're going to take the graph that matches, and you are going to pop it into the graph spot. The next one you can tell would definitely not be a match because we're looking for growth. From the left, our graph is going to go up, and that is not happening in that third choice. From the left, your graph is going down, so that was a decay exponential function. We're also going to look at the graph in the middle. We're going to start talking about this a little bit together, and we're going to compare a little bit. When your multiplier, in this case, is 2, that's going to tell you that your numbers are getting bigger, and you can actually see that relationship right here. 3 times 2 gives you 6. 6 times 2 gives you 12. So your numbers are increasing. You can see that growth because your multiplier is bigger than 1. Without actually typing this one in, I can tell you that this is going to be a decay graph because our multiplier is between 0 and 1. Another way to think about multiplying by 1/4 is also divide by 4. That fraction bar means divide. So we're taking our values and we're dividing by 4. As you type this in, you would be able to see that relationship, and it's easier to see kind of up at the top. But because it is a multiplier, you cannot say it like this in the equation. You have to represent it with that fraction bar and turn it into what you would multiply by. So you guys are going to type this equation in. You are going to decide if it's growth or decay. Remember, growth goes up from the left. Decay is going to be going down. You can tap on the y-intercept to actually see where it is. You're going to match your graph by looking at all of these specific points. And your asymptote, remember for Algebra 1, is going to stay the same. Y equals 0. And again, you can type that in to make sure, and you can zoom in to see if it's actually touching. I've got this one kind of pre-typed again on. Let's see, we want to turn that one off and turn this one on. And we can even change the color so we can see it a little bit different. Here we go. You can zoom in to see the asymptote. Again, it looks like it's touching, but if you zoom in, there's actually a little bit of a space between them. So you are going to change this to a table. And you have those values. And remember what I was saying, you can write these down or you can keep scrolling up and down so that you can see that relationship when you pop these answers in. It's easier to see in the top how you're dividing by 4 to get from 32 to 8, from 8 to 2. But again, we cannot say divide by 4. We have to camouflage that in terms of fraction so that we can say multiply by 1/4. For the last piece, this one's a little bit tricky because there's not an a and a b. Our formula is y equals ab to the x, remembering that our x goes with our multiplier. So our a value is missing. If your a value is missing, what that means is that the a value is actually a 1. Because 1 times 5 to the x power, the x would still go with that 5 and the 5 only. And a 1 is not going to change that value. When you multiply something by 1, that's not going to change your answer. 1 times anything is just itself. You are going to graph this on Desmos. You're going to decide again if it's growth or if it's decay. You can also know if it's growth or decay by looking at your multiplier. Is that bigger than 1? It's going to be growth. If it's less than 1, between 0 and 1, it's going to be decay. You can tap to find your y-intercept, and your y-intercept is going to be on your y-axis. You can change your equation to a table so that you can fill in all of these values. Match those values to get your graph. And then remember, your asymptote is always going to be the same in Algebra 1, and you have some choices down there that you can pop in if you want to type those in and check. You are going to finish question number 4 on your own. That is Schoology